Brian Shannon from alphatrends.net. Today is Wednesday, June 28th, 2017, and the market reversed its losses from yesterday and finished with a gain of $2.14 for the S&P 500. You can see that on this bigger picture, of course, we remain above a rising 50-day moving average, and even if we were to drop below that 50-day moving average, the more important point is that when the 50-day moving average is rising, we consider the market innocent till proven guilty, and we look at breakdowns and pullbacks as just that, pullbacks in a intermediate term trend that will typically resolve themselves to the back to the upside. So in terms of this market, we were focused on this as our level of support. We of course broke below that and closed below it on Tuesday, but today as the market gapped higher, we saw that there was an initial little bit of profit taking here, and then once the buyers regained control of that volume weighted average price for the day, it was up and away from there. So back to that daily time frame, again, we're in a longer term uptrend. We can take a look at the volume weighted average price from this low. We're back above that once again. So buyers remain in control of the S&P 500, and those people who throw their stocks away just because the market dips a little bit come back in and buy them back, and shorts cover, and then we have double sources of demand with less supply, and from failed moves often come fast moves. But again, we're in the midpoint of what's been this bigger range here. So I still look at this as primary bull market consolidating through time, most likely to continue back to the upside. The NASDAQ also, this held a very important volume weighted average price level that I've been referencing here, and that is the volume weighted average price from this recent low back here from the March low. We could also take a look, and you see it kind of toyed with this level here, which was support. So on that other test, but it was the volume weighted average price from here where we found the buyers. I was hoping that we would kind of undercut the low from the last few days this morning and then rally up. But the market doesn't care what I want or what I hope for. But the important thing is that yes, we're below declining 5-day moving average. However, we are back above the volume weighted average price from all of these important levels. And to me, that speaks volumes that the buyers are still waiting in the wings to purchase stocks. So we have a very clear level of near-term support. That's 137.50 to 138, and the buyers keep showing up as we get down into that level, bringing it back towards the midpoint of this range. Now, with that declining 5-day moving averages, it says we maintain a little bit of caution over the intermediate term time frame, but the bigger picture is we're still in a major uptrend on the daily time frame, and markets can't just go straight up forever. They have to pause, they have to pull back price-wise or digest their gains through time, and this is looking more and more like a digestion of those gains through a time correction. The Russell 2000 kind of faked me out a little bit on Tuesday because I was expecting it to break higher right here. I had gotten stopped out, and then today, of course, after we broke down yesterday, the market reversed back higher. I now think you want to look at this Russell 2000 as though the buyers are in control, because they are. This little band of prior resistance we're going to look for to become support, along with a rising 5-day moving average that will hopefully catch up to it. I think that you get pullbacks into this area, you want to be selective buyer for continued upside, because the daily time frame is still clearly higher. We're above a rising 10, 20, and 50-day moving average, and of course we're also above the 100, 150, and 200-day moving averages. So buyers are in control of the Russell 2000. I would not be really concerned unless they were to get back below probably 140 and a half or so. Semiconductors, very similar of course to the NASDAQ in that they are correcting. This group also held a couple volume weighted average price levels this year. One, we have the year-to-date volume weighted average price, which was tested in April, and then when we take a volume weighted average price from that April low, that's where we came in and found these buyers here today. So the buyers are back in control of the longer term, or that is, they maintain control of the longer term. We still have, again, a rising 50-day moving average. So we're looking at a correction, and corrections can last a few weeks, maybe a month, 2 months, but the fact is the bigger picture remains bullish. When we look at an intermediate term time frame, I think that it does pay to be a little bit more cautious in here. The volume weighted average price from the peak 2 weeks ago, we're still stuck below that 5-day moving average. For this market in the intermediate term to become more neutral, we need to see it back above 85, and ideally maybe doing something like this to stabilize here and then to rebuild for potential further upside from here. Biotechs, the buyers remain in control. We're in a major uptrend here. We've got a rising 10, 20, and 50-day moving average. This market pulled back a bit on Tuesday, but the buyers came back in here today. So looking at this recent move, we've looked at the volume weighted average price since the move began, and we broke below that briefly, but the buyers gain back that control today. Now, very short term, we've got the potential for some resistance here. So I think that the best scenario would be a pullback down towards this level, then to rally up through that 5-day moving average. That's what I'm going to be looking for. I'm going to be looking for a pullback down towards this level and then looking to potentially buy if and when it breaks back above it. We've got the volume weighted average price from this peak that kind of held it back here today. You can see that came right in here. So a little refreshing pullback that would create a higher low, I think would pave the way for a break of that 5-day moving average and the volume weighted average price from the peak. And that would confirm to me that the buyers are in fact back in control of the intermediate term trend, as well of course they are in control of the longer term time frame here too.